Couple days ago, Tucker Carlson decided to have Nick Fuentes, the leader of the Groyper movement, on his podcast. And I encourage people all the time to listen to Nick Fuentes because he, I believe, is someone to be reckoned with. And he's really been blacklisted by the right overall, but he's kind of sprung back since what happened to CK. So you have a lot of people listening to him. And he is a menace, but he's very interesting. Now, I don't think you can be taken in by him, but my sister who hates men and hates everyone on the right, she listens to him and she's just like, he's just so interesting. Like, you feel like all of a sudden you're agreeing with him on all these things, and then he says something so atrocious and awful you want to reach through the screen and just, because he's awful. But he's very enticing in how he does, and I don't know, to me that's interesting because I study people like this. So anyway, he goes on Tucker Carlson, and Tucker Carlson has said awful things about Nick Fuentes. And so I find that also interesting because you have people on the right that have kind of fought and attacked each other now willing to have conversations because they know the Trump boat is sinking. And when you start to see Candace and Tucker speak out a little bit, I knew that they were trying to shift and test the waters because they don't know where the leadership's going to go once Trump's gone. So I think they're trying to keep their toe in the water kind of thing. And they're more willing to attack people on the right. You know, Tucker outwardly says, I hate Ted Cruz and Mike Huckabee and people like they're just getting very, I don't know, combative in a very Christian way. So anyway, he has Nick on there. Nick is a white supremacist. He's a Holocaust denier. He is pro-America 100%, but he hates Trump. And he used to love Trump. He was there January 6th, but he hates him now because he's like, he doesn't keep his word on anything. He doesn't help Republicans. He doesn't like the Republican Party. He tells people not to vote Republican because he's like, they're not really for us. All they do is, be scared of the liberals and vote for us. But they don't actually offer anything, which is kind of the complaint we have on the left. Like, don't vote for the right because that's Trump and that's fascism. But then nothing ever happens for us either. So anyway, and he has some things that he agrees with on the left. You know, hates J.D. Vance, hates Peter Thiel, hates J.D.'s wife, thinks the whole Erica Kirk CK thing, the way Erica's acting, is atrocious. Anyway, it's just interesting. So anyway, they went on to say what they were saying about Israel and Zionism and how much they hate Zionism and yada yada, even talking about Stalin and dictatorships, and they just went for it. So the reason I bring this up is because so many of you come into my comments and in other creators' comments and go, the Heritage Foundation, they're the real danger. They're going to install J.D. Vance and they're going to run, it doesn't matter because they've got everything. The Heritage Foundation is a cult, and they have waited like 50 years to get someone like Trump in the White House because he's like the Trojan horse, and they went along for the ride. They didn't expect that their cult was going to be co-opted by Trump, but that's what's happened. So they need Trump. And that shows because after that podcast aired, the president of the Heritage Foundation would not speak out against Tucker and said, hey, don't attack Tucker. You know, he has the right to say what he wants to say. The Heritage Foundation, supports his right to do that. And you don't have to just go along with any foreign government just because you feel pressured to. It was really interesting because you would think they would stand right by Israel and attack Tucker and Nick Fuentes, but they didn't. They sided with Tucker and said, anyone that attempts to cancel him, they're just vapid, awful people. And they're like, and he will outlast us. It was very pro Tucker. And then X blew up and they were attacking, I think his name's Kevin Roberts. They were attacking him and Tucker and saying, you're awful people, you should be for Israel, blah, 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 blah. And then Kevin Roberts came out, tried to walk it back a little bit, like, of course, we believe in the Holocaust and, we stand for the the Jewish people, whatever it was. Because see, on the right, believing in Israel is a big deal, and it's a big deal that so many of them are pulling away from the Israeli government, and that they're questioning that. And it has been one of the biggest problems they're having, and that was mostly because of the death of CK. And a lot of them don't know. It's made them start to have to learn about Netanyahu and Israel and the Israeli government and what Zionism is. And it's had a lot of people step away from Trump. A lot. So, anyway, the point is that, and then you had Ted Cruz yelling at Tucker saying, oh, I didn't know you hated me so much, and I don't like you either, and Mike Huckabee, oh, I think I can withstand this because I know the scriptures, and the infighting is happening, and it's happening loud. And part of that's because they know they're in trouble. They know Trump is fucked up in the head. They know that he's taking IQ tests, getting MRIs, stumbling around. They know, I think maybe they sense JD's doing something. Like, I'm going to do a video on him and Eric Kirk because that looks weird. And a lot of people don't like JD. So for me, the Heritage Foundation is trying to keep their finger in all the pies because they know they need Trump. They know they need to be in with whoever the leader is that goes forward, or they're in big trouble. So for everybody that keeps saying the Heritage Foundation, they're the ones in charge, they're the ones, they would not be standing by the things Tucker is saying normally, but they know that Trump is in trouble. So you can expect them to be standing up for things that they normally wouldn't, because they have to keep their finger in every pie. So no, they aren't quite the boogeymen you think they are. They don't have the power you think they do. And that is why they have to just sell out constantly to try and stick in with anybody they think that is possibly going to be the next person after Trump.